Hey, this is Jason Morris with Real Estate Agents Really Work, and I'm on today with Peta-Gay. Do you want to tell about yourself and where you're from?
Yes, of course. I'm Peta-Gay, of course, and I'm in Washington, D.C. I am with Douglas Realty, and I'm licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia.
Oh, wow. So you're licensed in 3 states?
Yes, when you're in our area, it makes sense to have all 3 licenses, and I began with D.C. first, and then I ran into the problem of, we can't afford D.C., so I went and I got my Maryland license, and with that, then I heard, do you sell in Virginia because they have a better school district? So I ended up getting all 3. Yeah, I ended up getting all 3 within like 3 months of each other.
Oh, wow. So, I want to tell people what we're doing here. Now, you're in a transition period, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Where you're going
am.
from part-time agent with a full-time job to full-time agent.
Yes. I've been licensed since 2014, and I've done it part-time up until now. Come March 2nd, I'll be going full-time because my employer let me go. So it's a little bit scary, but exciting all at the same time.
Yeah. So now what type of job did you do before?
I did business development for a nonprofit, so I helped them get funding.
Okay, so you help people get funding. So it's kind of sales. You got to go out and talk to people and meet people and talk to them about giving you money.
Yes, it's very
so
similar.
it's kind of along the same lines and stuff. So with real estate, you've been doing it since 2014. So where's your business at right now?
Last year I did 17 transactions. So.
Okay. What kind of total volume was that?
I actually don't know offhand. Sorry.
What do you think roughly your average sale was?
The average sale for me was about $450,000.
Wow, $450,000. So you're in a
$415,000 is the average sale price.
$450,000.
Some of those were rentals also because I have a property management license, so I did also do some rentals. So it's not all sales.
You're in a market that's got a strong rental market too, don't you?
Yes, we do. In DC, you can a shabby 2-bedroom can go for like $2,700. So if you do those, you can pull a decent living if you double end it.
Yeah. How much would you make off one of those $2,700 a month rentals?
I'm actually with a 100% broker, so all I do is pay for rentals. I pay a $75 transaction fee. So everything else I pay for myself.
Well, typical commission, do you get the first month's rent or half the first month's rent?
Yes, first month's rent.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
of course, we decide if we want to share it with another broker if they bring the tenant. And in our area, a 35% split is good for D.C. Maryland and Virginia varies a little bit more.
Wow. So what do you mean by 35%? Like offering 35% to the buyer's agent or the other agent?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
For D.C., that's about right. In Virginia, it's more like 25%, and Maryland probably like 30%. So it varies.
Now, this is for rentals, right?
Yes, for rentals.
So regular real estate, you guys split commission, like 50-50, like typical, most places?
Yes. Yes. For a sale, it's typically 50-50. Yes, correct.
So with doing 17 transactions, where did your business come from last year?
I did expired.
Okay.
And now, because I actually did the Barino Expired Plus program, and he taught us about expireds, FSBOs, and now, thanks to you, I'm actually starting Z-Buyer, too. So that's another funnel I have in mind.
Yeah, I really like Z-Buyer. I'll tell you, like in my market, I'm super aggressive with them. And as soon as I see them come up on the website, it's like an emergency situation. I'm pulling my car over to call them, and I probably list 1 out of 5 I get probably. And
That's pretty
I was
good.
1 or 2 a month with Z-Buyer. So when did you start Z-Buyer? Or have you started
I
yet?
I started it in December. Only problem I was having, as you just said, you need to call quickly, but because I had the other job, I wasn't able to do so. So for the most part, I will really be jumping into Z-Buyer come March 2nd because I'm not able to follow up with them as I need to.
Well, I tell people, like, if you can't call them right then, like the best time to call them in my market. Now, this is what I find is that a lot of these Z-Buyer people, they're people with just regular jobs, regular 9 to 5 jobs.
Mhm.
And I seem to get really high number of them on the phone, like between 5:30 and say like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so you might, if you can't call them during the day, I know you only got 30 days left with your job or before your job ends. So what's your plan? Tell us about what's your plan when your job ends in a month. What are you going to be doing? Like, what's your day? What's your planned day going to look like?
Basically, I'm going to still work 8 hours. I'm going to start working at 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock. And for the most part, I intend on dialing, dialing. And what I mean by that is prospecting. Prospect, drop off my packages. I don't see a big change in what I'll be doing, except now I'll be doing it for real estate versus the employer.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. I tell people all the time, like, man, you got to treat this like a real job, and make yourself a schedule and, work your schedule, time block. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like for me, I get up in the morning and about 8:15, I'm on the phone and I pretty much make calls till about 10:30, 11 o'clock, either new calls or follow up. But, I'll tell you, follow-up, I believe, is, like, the most important thing. Yeah,
and that's actually one of the areas I've been slacking because I didn't have the time to put in for all of the calling that I needed to do. So, yeah.
Well, it's probably a lot like the fundraising you guys are doing. Some of the people, it isn't that they don't want to give, just when you call them at that moment, it might not be a good time for them to give you all the information and give.
Yeah.
In real estate, it's the same way. It's just, sometimes, you got a random person calling you on the phone and they're telling you, hey, I want to come help you sell your house, but, it isn't that they don't want to sell their house and they don't want to work with you. You just called them while they were in the middle of, they're about to jump in the shower or had something going on with the kids, or only God knows what.
Exactly, and you have to build that relationship, too.
And so last year, you done 17, and they were mostly from expireds, and they were from Barino's, and you learned how to do that from Barino's expired system. What would you say was your biggest takeaway? And by the way, I love Barino. I think he is like the most genuine guy there is. I've actually got one of Barino's systems, and I've listened to it, and he's fantastic. And a lot of the stuff that a lot of my mindset and stuff and his is the same, even though we just met each other like a few months ago. He's like been one of my favorite people to like interview and talk to on the phone. But what would you say was your biggest takeaway from doing the expired system with Barino?
Consistency. Like you have to work every day. You can't expect for business to come to you. So that's basically it. If you don't work, then you won't have any money coming in or sales.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty much whatever you're doing today, you're going to kind of see results from it like 30, 60 days from now.
Mhm.
So, starting March 1st, what's your goal in March?
Actually, the goal that I made at the beginning of the year was to get 22 sales, not including like the rentals and the other things I do. So I made that goal at the beginning of the year, and I think that would total about, I don't know offhand, but it's 22 sales, and if the average commission's about 11,000, I would do well for the year.
Oh yeah.
So I basically have to do at least 2 sales per month. And currently I'm on track for that, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, when you had your job, when were you making calls and when were you doing your follow-up and all that stuff?
That's the problem. I was doing the calls at 12 o'clock every day, and then because I'm a mom too, I'm a single mom of two, when I got home, I tried to squeeze in an extra hour. But at the same time, we're trying to do that. The dog is barking in the background. The kids are like, Mom, I need your help. So it was crazy all the time. So I didn't get to do my evening prospecting like I should have. And in my area, I know we're told to do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I don't get a lot of pickups then.
I think for me, the reason I do it at 8 o'clock in the morning is I know for myself personally, if I don't start doing it right away, I'll let other things kind of distract me and get in the way, and next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. And it's good knowing yourself. No,
yeah, that's why I do it early in the morning. I know that if I'd done it in the afternoon, I would get more people to pick up. But I'll tell you the truth too, man. It's 6:30 in the afternoon. I feel like I'm dead. I don't want to talk about real estate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm cringing when my phone is ringing at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes. And it's just and a lot of it's just some days are just mentally exhausting in the real estate business. You make 3 or 4 hours of really hard calls and follow up. So wow. So you were making calls on your lunch break.
Yeah. That was the only time I really had to do it.
And then when you'd get home, you were trying to do another hour at home, but you had the kids and stuff to deal with too. And being a single mom, how did you handle that with the kids? How old are your kids?
I have an 11-year-old, 13-year-old, and now I have an 11, 14-year-old, and now I also have a 13-year-old, which is who I call my bonus son. So at that age, they're a little bit contentious with each other, if I could say that. So, yeah, they keep me busy. Even though they're old enough to take care of themselves, they bicker back and forth with each other.
Yeah. Well, they're old enough too that if you do have an afternoon appointment, you can leave them home.
Yes, I've actually done that quite a bit. Usually if I have somewhere I need to go, I schedule it at 6 o'clock because I can drop them all off at home by 5 o'clock. I can go to my appointment and be back home by 8 at the latest. So that's how I've been working it.
Man, so what about weekends? Have you been working on weekends and stuff too?
Yes, my Saturdays, they're usually at my mother's house, and I have appointments. I usually take them up until maybe 7 o'clock. I do open houses. I do everything I have to do on Saturday because I try to dedicate Sunday to family time, grocery shopping, everything else. Yeah. I don't work on Sundays. I've gotten a lot of clients who are like, well, Sunday's the only day, but I have to remember I need some time off too. So I don't.
I'm the same way. I don't schedule much on Sundays unless it's something that like I want to do. You know what I mean? Like family time, things like that. I will meet somebody on Sunday, like if I have no other choice. That's like the only time. But I don't like doing it.
Yeah, there was one client I made the exception to the rule with for the Sunday because her only days off were Sundays or Wednesdays. And because I had the full-time job, I just couldn't do her Wednesdays in the daytime. So I do make exceptions where needed, but I try not to with the Sunday.
So I really, admire your work ethic. So, because I want to recap here real quick because I think a lot of agents need to hear this. A lot of agents, they're doing a part-time job they're doing a full-time job and, they say, oh, I don't have time to call or anything. So you were calling on your lunch break for an hour. Then you would get home from working literally all day at another job, dealing with the kids in the morning, going to work, calling on your lunch break, getting back on the phone, making calls and stuff for the nonprofit you're working for. And then you pick all the kids up from school, take them home, and then you would get back on the phone for another hour. And and if you had an appointment, you'd go on the appointment from 6 to 8. So you were literally working, I mean, from the dealing with kids and everything from 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, very true. That's
6
why
days
I'm
a
a little
week.
bit excited. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit excited that I no longer have the full-time job.
Oh yeah, that's a lot to keep up with. And 17 transactions being a part-time agent that's an excellent year. There's a lot of full-time agents out there that wish they were doing that kind of business, you know?
Yeah, I did it to prove to myself that I can do it because it's scary to go from salary to commission. So my whole mind process is if I can put in enough work as a part-timer, then when I become full-time, I won't be as concerned, because not having income and having too little people that are dependent on you is pretty scary.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure that is. So what would you, these agents that are out there that are working a full-time job, what kind of advice would you give them?
Consistently prospect every day if you can. Actually, no, not if you can. Just make it a point to consistently prospect, even if it's 30 minutes. Do it every day. And what I would recommend for that is get a dialer. Like before, I used to manually dial all the numbers, but now that I have a dialer, I get through more numbers quicker.
What dialer are you using?
I'm with Expresso Agent, so I use their free dialer with their program.
Oh, okay. That's cool. But with the dialer, you can, and I tell people this too, man, the dialer made me lazy. I used to dial the numbers individually. I actually had 2 cell phones I dial from. And, man, the dialer made me lazy. I just put on my headset, push start, and just sit there and kind of wait.
No,
and I do other
that's
things.
how it is.
Actually,
I don't do other things. I don't do other things because I have my computer up and I'm like taking notes on each one. And because I didn't have very much time to prospect, I had to use the dialer. Like when you only have an hour, you have to get through as much as you possibly can. But I stay active with it. Because when I'm in their program, I'm putting notes in like, okay, call, this is whatever is going on with that particular listing, I would note it in there. So it was an active process for me.
Man, well, yeah, you got to pack as much as you can in that hour. So during that hour, how many people did you typically have to, how many people did you get to talk to?
That's the thing. Doing it at lunchtime, you don't hit a lot. So if I got 3 during the noon hour, I call that a win.
That was a good day.
Yeah, and
how many people do you feel like you had to talk to like get an appointment?
That varies from week to week. Like, I've been as lucky as the only person I called that day, I got an appointment. And then I've had, don't call me again. So I'm not too great on tracking the numbers on it. But, I didn't really pay too much attention to that. But, for the most part, I would go on at least 2 appointments per week, like 2 solid appointments per week for expires. And I would get a lot of what I call previews for the for sale by owners because I do those also. But with them, the conversion's a little bit harder. But it's very easy to get that initial appointment.
Yeah, are you using a pre-listing package?
I actually have your pre-listing package.
Okay.
So I have your pre-listing package, and I love it.
When I started using that, and for the people listening, if you don't have it, you can get the template for free at jasonmorrisprelistingpackage.com. You download it for free. But when I started using a pre-listing package, that was like a big moment for me. It was like all of a sudden my appointments changed. It was like I wasn't going on. I'd cut down my appointment because I used to would go and people, I'd sit there and talk with people all day. We'd talk about their kids, where their kids are going to college and all this stuff. And then, and I'd be like, man, they love me. They're inviting me for dinner and to go fishing with them and random stuff. And then they would list their house with somebody else. And
Wow.
I had to learn that I had to cut down my appointment time to like 20, 30 minutes. And I had to almost be like a doctor, you know what I mean? You know, you go to your doctor's office and you go in, you tell him what your problem is, and technically you're only there because you're sick, and he's only seeing you because you're sick. You know, you're only at these people's house because you want to list it and you think you can sell it, and they only have you there because they're hoping that you got a buyer. They're hoping you bring in a buyer that day, but they're hoping that at least that you can sell it. So that pre-listing package allowed me to, when I show up there, you know about me, my team, what we do to sell real estate, and, you know, there's not really a presentation after that.
I agree.
So,
it's a very good package, and the only problem I'm having, I prefer expireds over FISBOs. So I haven't been, because my experience, it's easier to convert the expired. So I actually need to focus more on doing the FISBOs, because I give time to it, but not as much as I do the expired. But I do believe using your package will make the conversion easier for me than what I was doing previously.
Yeah, I tell you, I done that same thing for a long time. I really worked expireds really hard, and that was where most of my listings were coming from. And then when I made the switch and started adding for sale by owners to my business, and I got them really figured out, you know, went on a bunch of for sale by owner appointments and stuff like that. It kind of flipped for me. All of a sudden now, for sale by owners, I'm really, really good with, and and it kind of took the place of my expireds. It's probably my number one lead source. So let me ask you. I know we're getting close to that 20, 25 minutes now, Mark. What were your what type of lead sources will you be using when you go full time?
I'm going to continue with Espresso for my for sale by owners and also my expireds. And I'm using ZBuyer for that unique type of client that's looking to sell. That's the only way I can describe it. And my sphere of influence, of course. And I think those are the ones I'm going to use. And I've done open houses, but it doesn't pull the traffic that I've heard it can pull. So I might put that in later in the year, maybe during the summer months. But for the most part, expires, FISBOs, and ZBuyer.
Wow. So what's your biggest fear going full time? What is your biggest concern? Or do you have one?
I actually do have one. It's just that I'm scared of failing. Like, I can't fail. I have to make this work because my kids are counting on me. Like, last night I did my budget and I went to bed early because looking at it, which means I have to work every day. I have to dial.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say if you start like tracking your numbers a little better, you get it really dialed in to like. What's that?
I said I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you can get it really dialed in to know like, hey, I got to make this many dials a day, and this, you know, talk to this many people, and this many people get me this many appointments, and then it gets a little easier to plan your week and stuff. You know what I mean? It gives you a benchmark too. Like, you know, in some weeks you'll be like, oh man, I'm way ahead. You know, I've only, you know, instead of calling 6 hours, I've only called 4. You know, I'm way ahead. And those way ahead weeks are great. You know, you got to keep pushing those weeks though, because, you know, what sucks in this business is some weeks everybody's really nice to me and they really like me, and some weeks nobody likes me. You know, nobody answers the phone and nobody likes me. But that's actually a great fear to have. You know, a lot of agents are scared to pick up the phone and make the calls. And
I've gotten over that part already. I did have that at first because I did some kooky things beforehand not to make the calls. But at this point, I'm okay with the calls because I actually role play every morning. That's what I do at 8 o'clock.
Really? So you have another agent you're role playing with?
Yes. Actually, I have a few because I like to do it with a variety of people because they bring different scenarios. I don't like to know what the script is going to be beforehand because when I actually pick the phone up, I won't know what the person on the other end is going to say. So I try to role play with different people.
Man, and that really helps, doesn't it? Especially when you're brand new.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah. What's the big objection you're having problems with right now?
I don't think I have, or I can't say it's a big objection. Like the big problem I see is not enough people are picking the phone up. Because I'm willing to listen to the other person on the other end, and by doing so, you can adjust the conversation as needed so you can put them at ease.
Yeah, that's cool. I've learned that too. You know, if you keep listening and asking questions, you can pretty much overcome any objection pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, there's no new objections either. Everybody's got the same ones, and as long as you're using the same scripts, you're going to get the same objections, and you'll learn how to overcome them pretty easy. So I tell you, if somebody wants to refer a client to the Washington, D.C. area, how can they get in touch with you? Do you have a website or email address you want to give?
Yes, my email address is agent@propertylocatersllc.com, and also the website is propertylocatersllc.com.
Hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate you doing this call with me today. I think I think you have some amazing things going on that are really exciting, and the stuff have overcome being a part-time agent is amazing too. Having to call on your lunch break, call in the afternoons, being a single parent on top of it. Yeah, you had an amazing 2016 with everything you've had going on.
Thank you so much, Jason, and I appreciate you actually putting the idea out there to do such a call because I like to share my story because I read other people's story online, and it inspires me to actually keep going because I know I'm not the only one facing the same challenges.
Oh, yeah. Well, like we talked about before we did the call, the agent that's doing $3 million gross commission a year, that guy is so out of reach for most agents, especially new agents, that, his problems and his obstacles and stuff he's having in the business aren't really going to help most of us, you know what I mean? But the ones that you have, the things you've had to overcome are amazing. They've done great, but I really appreciate you having me on here. And guys, if you're looking, if you're thinking about trying out ZBuyer is offering a 20% discount to real estate agents that really work. Just call them and tell them that Jason Morris sent you, or you're in the group, and they'll give you a discount. So hang on just a second. Let me stop the recording.